enrich different experience. Also, I would like to invite you to follow our community about business analytics called BA Unity. Our viewers on YouTube, you will have a link in the description, and you will also have links later in the presentation. So let's start with the first speaker. It's Dzmitry Rusak, our senior analyst and project owner. He will speak about value to a product using evidence-based management. Dzmitry, stage is yours.
Can you hear me? Yes. Okay, cool. How are you doing tonight? Yeah, I'm okay. Thank you for asking. So today we are going to, I'm a bit nervous. I'm warming up today and I haven't seen so many people for a long time. Remote work, you should know. Today we are going to speak about evidence-based management, and let's begin with a little bit of theory. And now, first of all, let me introduce myself. And I'm a senior business analyst, I'm senior resource manager, certified product owner, and lead BA in fintech at Andersen company. And as I mentioned previously, today we are going to speak about evidence-based management. We will talk about key value areas and key value metrics. We'll discuss how to improve our product value within EBM, and also we will talk about future prioritization based on evidence-based management. Okay, and let's refresh some points about evidence-based management. Try to use it. Oops. Yeah. Evidence-based management is an empirical approach that helps organizations to continuously improve customer outcomes, organizational capabilities, and business results. And all this stuff happens under conditions of uncertainty. Essentially, evidence-based management provides a framework for organizations to improve their ability to deliver value in a uncertain world, seeking a path toward a strategic goal. One of the main ideas of evidence-based management is to use intentional experimentation and evidence, and it enables organizations to systematically improve their performance over time and refine their goals based on better information. When we are talking, when we are talking about empiricism, we always think of William Edwards Deming and Deming cycle itself, which consists of 4 phases: plan, do, study, act. During plan phase, we establish objectives required to deliver desired result. During second stage, we obviously carry out these objectives. Within study phase, we collect data before change and after change, and reflecting on the result, yes, and what was learned. And during last but not least act stage, we take measures to eliminate all causes of deviations from planned result. Sorry, I need to drink some water. Okay, interesting fact that William Edwards Deming is known for his theory methods of statistical quality control, but he and his methods were not accepted in America, and he moved to Japan, and he received recognition from famous Japanese companies and top leaders of these companies. So if you want to be heard, go to Japan. It's a joke, of course. Let's come back to our IBM framework, and let's consider our IBM model. And as you can see in the middle of this model, there is an experiment loop. Essentially, it's a cycle, pretty similar to Deming cycle. And within this cycle, we have to establish a hypothesis. Then we carry out experiments based on this hypothesis. We measure results, inspect and study these results, and adapt next actions based on received knowledges. The main idea of this experiment loop cycle is that complex problems do not solve themselves, and organizations need to tackle them in small steps, then test results of each step, and adapt next steps based on feedback. If you take a look on this model, you also can find key elements such as strategic goal, intermediate goals, immediate tactical goals, starting state, and current state. Strategical goal, it's something very, very important for organization, and definitely organization would like to achieve this strategic goal. Strategic goal is very big and far away, with a lot of uncertainties along the journey that organizations need to use empiricism. So the path to strategic goal is uncertain, as I mentioned previously. That is why organizations need a series of practical targets like intermediate goals. Achievements of these intermediate goals will indicate that organization is on a track or is on the path to strategic goal. The path to the intermediate goals often still somewhat uncertain, but not completely unknown. That is why we have immediate tactical goals. Immediate tactical goals are critical short-term goals which team will work on to help organization achieve intermediate goals. Starting state. Starting state is where organization is relative to strategic goal when it starts its journey. And current state, obviously, is where organization is relative to strategic goal at the present time. Sorry. Next one. Organizations measure. Organizations measure a lot of different things. But broadly speaking, we can, all these things fall into three categories: activities, outputs, and outcomes. Activities are things that people in the organization do, such as perform work, go to meetings, go to coffee points, have discussions, write code, and so on and so forth. Outputs, these are things that the organization produces, such as product releases, defect reports, other reports, and so on. And outcomes. These are desirable things for a customer or user of a product. They represent some new or improved capability that the customer or user was not able to achieve before. The problem most organizations face is that measuring of activities and outputs is easy, while measuring outcomes is difficult. And evidence-based management helps to solve this problem. And in additional of using experimentations and hypotheses to move toward the goal, evidence-based management provides a set of perspective on value or organization ability to deliver value. These perspectives are called key value areas. There are 4 key value areas within ABM framework. Unrealized value answers the question, what is the additional potential value that could be achieved? Current value tells us what value is currently delivered by the organization. Time to market can help us to determine how long does it take to deliver new value, and ability to innovate indicates how effective is the organization at improving value. Focusing on these 4 dimensions enables organizations to understand where they are and where they need to go. Each of these key value area focus either on value or capability of organization to deliver value. And each of these key value area has their own KPIs, has its own KPIs, metrics called key value measures or KVMs. Let's quickly go through each key value area. So we have current value. The purpose of looking at current value is to understand the value that an organization delivers to customers and stakeholders at the present time. It considers only what exists right now, not the value that might exist in the future. And questions that organizations need to continually reevaluate for current value are: how happy are users and customers today? Is their happiness improving or declining? And pretty the same questions for employees and investors and stakeholders. Here we have examples of key value measures. I don't know if it works. Let me try. Yeah. Key value measures for current value, such as revenue per employee, product cost ratio, employee satisfaction, customer satisfaction, and customer usage index. You can find description of all these, and not only these key value measures, in appendix to evidence-based management guide on scrum.org. Next one, unrealized value. The potential future value that could be realized in the organization if the organization met the needs of all potential customers or users. The gap between a customer's or user's current experience and the experience they would like to have is an opportunity measured by unrealized value. Questions that organizations need to continually reevaluate for unrealized value are: can any additional value be created by our organization in this market or other markets? Is it worth the effort and risk to pursue these untapped opportunities? Should further investments be made to capture additional unrealized value? And key value measures are market share, customer or user satisfaction gap, desired customer experience or satisfaction. Time to market. The organization's ability to quickly deliver new capabilities, services, or products. The reason for looking at time to market is to minimize the amount of time it takes for the organization to deliver value. Without actively managing time to market, the ability to sustainably deliver value in the future is unknown. And questions that organizations need to continually reevaluate for time to market are: how fast can the organization learn from the new experiments and information? How fast can you adapt based on the information? And how fast can you test new ideas with customers? Key value measures: release frequency, mean time to repair, time to learn, and time to pivot. And last one, but not least, ability to innovate. It's effectiveness of organization to deliver new capabilities that might better meet customer needs. The goal of looking at the ability to innovate is to maximize the organization's ability to deliver new capabilities and innovate solutions. Organizations should continually reevaluate their ability to innovate by asking what prevents the organization from delivering new value, what prevents customers or users from benefiting from that innovation, and we have the following key value measures for ability to innovate: innovation rate, technical depth, production incident count, and time spent context switching. So now let's summarize and discuss how we can improve our product value with evidence-based management. Here we have 6 steps. First step is select metrics that can be used on the project. When we select in this matrix, we should take into account goals, product, type of the product, and I don't know, stage of development of the product. Then we should inspect metrics once a month, and in case of negative dynamic or non-compliance with indicators, so then we should study the problem and formulate a hypothesis. Then we test the hypothesis using an experiment, measure the effect of this experiment, and if this hypothesis was confirmed, implement the hypothesis. I bring some examples from my practice. This is pretty straightforward examples and just for better understanding. So within this example, we have current value as k-value area and customer usage index as k-value measure. We measured it with the help of Google Analytics, and we found the problem that a feature that was added 2 sprints ago has a low usage index, 5%. Expected usage index is approximately 15%. So our actions: first, investigate the reason why users do not use the new feature, and as a result of this action, we received that some users did not know about the new feature, while others could not find it in the app. Then, step number 2, analyze the result of the investigation with the team. Yeah, we analyzed this result and we formulated a hypothesis that promoting this feature and moving it to another page should improve current state. Next point, make an experiment. We made an experiment, and within focus group, the hypothesis was confirmed. Then, add a task to implement the confirmed hypothesis to the backlog. So yeah, we created several user stories and we put it into the backlog, and the hypothesis was implemented. And we inspected into sprint our result, and as you can see, usage index increased to up to 13%, what is not bad. Second example, k-value area, current value, and k-value measure is product cost ratio. It was measured via profit and loss statement, and the problem we received: cost of integrations with third parties KYC providers exceeded the planned ratio. So, actions. First, scrutinize all costs and possible failures when interacting with third-party services. As a result of this investigation, we understood that legal entities and individuals from one of our KYC regions failed verification with the KYC provider 1, which led to additional check via KYC provider 2. We analyzed the result of this investigation with the team, and as a result of this analysis, hypothesis was formulated that the problem region has better coverage via KYC provider 2. Then we made an experiment and add change request to the backlog to implement this hypothesis. Our hypothesis was implemented, and we inspected in a month and received results that the cost ratio decreased by 4%. Interesting fact that we received also additional profit. A k-value measure, customer satisfaction, has been increased as well. And now I want to pay your attention on these important things, that you have to keep track on changes in other metrics. By improving one, you can disproportionately reduce the other. Oops, not this one. Okay, let's talk about feature prioritization based on MBM. These steps will help you to find the best place for backlog item, task, story, feature, or whatever in your backlog. So first, when tracking metrics, define the ones with higher priority. So you should define most important metrics at the present time. So identify potential improvements for these metrics create appropriate issues if needed, and refine backlog items which impact the metrics with high priority. Then update backlog and reprioritize items. And obviously, feature affecting metrics with high priority should go to the top of backlog. Pretty straightforward, and that's it. I forget if I mentioned previously that I prepared a quiz. Are you ready to quiz? Okay, so these questions you will probably meet during during preparation for getting PSPO2 certificate. So, question number 1: when examining the issues, you as a new PO were able to learn that the last 3 releases have had no positive impact on product value. The cost to build and maintain a release is high compared to the revenue it generates, and the time from which the team starts working on a release to having it shipped to users is long. And options of answers: suggest canceling the product and focusing. It's my favorite option. Suggest canceling the product and focusing on other opportunities as unrealized value is low. Focus on identifying and delivering high-value features that will gain more customers and increase revenue. Or improve the team's ability to innovate by identifying and eliminating the waste that is creating the high cost ratios and long release cycles. Who want to try? Do not hesitate.
Focus on point 3, and I can explain why, if you would like.
Sure.
Okay, cool. So regarding the one, if the product currently generates revenue which exceeds the cost, then it doesn't make sense to cancel it at all. You may decrease the degree of investment in further development, but canceling it doesn't make sense if it aligns with this strategy. Secondly, as for the high-value features, this may have worked, but if other features you've been working on currently haven't delivered additional value, then perhaps you cannot really add more value by simply adding new features. So you need to work on something else. And thus, if your linear approach currently and incremental improvements to product don't lead to significant improvements in value, and you need to focus on what would be the right way to say it, on doing something significantly different that is non-incremental and revolutionary change in the product, which leads to the need to innovate and to look for possibility to do faster experiments. So this is why I would rather focus on point 3. Another reason to focus on point 3 is even if new features deliver relatively low value, if you also decrease the cost of these releases by increasing the efficiency, then the cost-value ratio would also be acceptable. So this is why point 3.
Okay, very good explanation. Let's check. Yep, you're right. Thank you. So, okay, don't hurry up. We have another questions. Products A and B are in different markets. Products A generates high earnings for organization, has high return of investment, has high current value and low unrealized value. And product B is new, has a low current value and high unrealized value. What is the best advice for allocating funding between these products? Option number 1, invest significantly more in product A as it is a flagship product of your organization. Invest significantly more in product B as it holds more opportunities for your organization. Split the fundings 50-50 and split the fundings based on revenue and return of investment. Any ideas? Champions? Where are you?
I have an answer, probably something else.
Maybe I'll try to help you guys. Yep, I think you're right. Could you please explain your opinion? Okay, so obviously then there is no explanation. And last one, product owner has decided to remove a product feature that's currently in production. Which measure could have led to this decision? A long cycle time, too much time spent context switching, increasing defect trend, and low customer usage index. Any other ideas? Okay, let's check. Low customer usage index. Yeah, here's the explanation that customer usage index is a measure of usage by feature to help infer the degree to which customers find the product and particular feature useful. If a feature is not meeting the customer's needs, then it might be a good idea to remove it from the product instead of leaving it and increasing the complexity of the product. Okay, guys, here is my contacts, and if any questions appear tonight, tomorrow, or even in a month, feel free to ask. I'm always open to conversations. That's it.
Thank you, Dzmitry. Do you have any questions to Dzmitry?
Hello, my name is Anna. First of all, thanks a lot for such great presentation. And I have a question regarding this customer usage index. So, well, obviously this is something that we could measure for product in production, but what if we have like brand new product that is in development? So maybe some alternative, or maybe there is some way to measure it somehow. I don't know. What is your suggestion?
Thank you for your question. It's a really good question. And we are talking about customer usage index. It means that the product is in production already. So I don't know what to suggest to you. So you can maybe create some kind of focus group to test this product within test environment.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions?
I have a question. What super intrigued me is when you mentioned about measuring innovation rate. So I wonder, how do you do it? What is the metric of innovation? It seems like stuff that is hard to measure.
Ability to innovate?
Yes. Yes, in ability to innovate, there was a metric called innovation rate, and so I got super intrigued by how do you measure it.
So actually, as I mentioned previously, you can find all these measures within Appendix 1 to evidence-based management, but I can answer you that some kind of time for different time to fix something, time to deploy something, and based on these all metrics, we can measure this k-value measure. Does it make sense?
To some extent, innovation is, I don't think we have time for the discussion now, but innovation is super intangible stuff. So how do you measure as a degree to which the product is different from what currently exists? I think I have some thoughts, like you can just think about to which degree the product is different in satisfying metrics of the job to be done. So you can break job to be done on certain metrics, and then you can think that like if there are certain metrics of these jobs that are satisfied, let's say 10 times better or 2 times better, then this may be to some extent the measure of innovation. So we need to distinguish between the speed to provide innovation and the depth of the innovation itself.
Yep, I agree with you. So
this is a hard topic.
Yeah, it's a hard topic, and we can discuss it a lot of time. And let me find an excellent example from my practice, and I will provide you with this example if you leave your contacts.
Okay. Let's connect after the meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? No? Okay. Thank you, Dzmitry, for your time and your presentation. That was very interesting.
Thank you, guys.
I hope and I know that this information will improve projects in the companies. So thank you very much, Dzmitry.
I hope you guys, it was useful.
Yeah, so I have the question to you guys. Do you think that building, improving, and develop relationships between people, colleagues in work, is very important in life? Yes? What about relationships in between project stakeholders? So let's hear what our second speaker, Paweł Sidorowicz, team lead at Craftware, can say about this. Welcome.
Welcome, guys. Nice to be here. Thank you for joining me on this presentation. What we'll be discussing today is a specific topic about do you want to grab some beer after work as an ultimate measure of success in any project. So the topic is maybe a little bit strange, maybe a little bit curious, but let me answer the question, why are we here? Apart from free snacks and and for me, Krakow old town. No, it's not only that. We'll discuss relationships, how to develop relationships in project, and how it contributes to the success of any project. So basically, before we go into detailed agenda of today's meeting, let me show how I understand relationships development in any project. So first of all, we arrive at scene, we don't know anybody, we don't know the project context, we don't know anything, and we don't know the stakeholders. So the relationship is unknown. We don't know if we'll build a proper relationships with people or we will fail, basically. Then we start working together, get to know each other, our strong and weak sides, what we expect from each other and how we feel when we work together. And if everything goes fine, we go into collaboration mode, when we work closer together, where we know our own expectations, when we know how to discuss matters with each other so we are successful and contributing to the project's success. And if we build that relationship and we understand each other together very well, we move into that mutual trust mode where you achieve a lot more when you collaborate, when you respect each other, when you even finish each other's sentences. Sometimes it happens even in project, not only in life. So we will discuss a few things that will help you develop that relationship in any project. And this is first impression, which is very important, and how to make a good one. We'll discuss short-term goals in building this relationship, long-term goals, so what we want to achieve in a half of a year or 12 months, and the tangible benefits which we'll have at the end of this exercise. And after each part of the presentation, we'll measure the success with our own beer-o-meter. So I hope you will enjoy this presentation. First impression, how to make a good one. And it is priceless to make a good entry into the project. So to show yourself as not a such person, some kind of a shady person that is lost totally, doesn't know what to do. Nobody knows what that person is going to be doing in the project. Yeah? We want to be more like this guy. We want to be as someone who is added value to what the client or the internal or external client expects. Of course, maybe not in that freak, strange way where we are overexcited, because that is overexcitement, obviously. So how to make a good first impression? So first of all, you need to do your homework. What I mean by that? I mean, you enter the project, we have some documents, we have some knowledge maybe from previous analysts or maybe from other person. We can ask questions, we can analyze documentation, we can take a look at the measures, project goals, whatever. So before we interact with anyone, we have done our homework and we are prepared for an interaction. So then we make first contact count and we introduce ourselves from our best side to the people that we will be working with. And what I mean by that? Even utilize kickoff and introduction meetings. So your first sentence, which you will say in the project, already matters. So you need to precisely and clearly describe your roles and responsibilities in that project, and also show yourself as a person that could be someone who will help this project goal to be achieved. And what I usually do, from my experience, I always tell to the business folks that I am their best friend in IT. So someone they can go to, discuss any matter. I am open to any discussion, anything at all, and my role in the project will be to fulfill the needs of the stakeholders and to ensure quality. And that is something that resonates. People hear that, and already some of them will put your name in their notebooks as a contact person for their needs. So then, also do not brag about your qualifications. Of course, you can tell that you have such and such certificates, such and such experience, but bragging about how wonderful this relationship will be and how many things you will achieve is not the best way to proceed. It's better to show that. It's better to show that you have experience and knowledge rather than talk about it. Because when you talk about it, people go into that reserve stance. Another one who knows everything. Yeah, so instead of bragging and talking, you go into that mode when you listen and adapt to what stakeholders need and how they work in the company. That's a starting point of any project. So our BO meter shows a small beer after the good first impression was made. How to have a better result on the BO meter? It's to concentrate on our short-term goals and quick wins in relationships with stakeholders. So it was Roger Federer who said, you have to believe in the long-term plan you have, but you need the short-term goals to motivate and inspire you. What I understand by that is long-term goal is, somewhere there distant in the future. You want to achieve it, but if you don't have those small steps along the way, then you are basically losing that motivation. Because before you achieve that, in a long time, you don't see the results, and it goes and goes on forever. So then, you need to establish such short-term goals like identify and analyze stakeholders properly. I saw a lot of projects that derailed because of wrong identification and stakeholder analysis, right from the very beginning. We, for example, thought that such person will be the most important person, and then, because he was a manager or whatever, but in fact, it was one of the lower level managers who was the most important person, because they listened to it, because that person had experience, and then the identification analysis failed, and the project itself and building relationships also failed, because we didn't put enough interest in the correct person. So this is a very important exercise. And of course, such vast topic that I won't cover today, how to analyze and identify stakeholders. That's a topic for another time, but a really important one, and I want to put emphasis on that. Then we acquire the adequate level of knowledge needed for success. So we've done our homework, but that's maybe not enough. Now we get into interviews, relationship building, and everything else. So we need to now gather that knowledge, analyze it further, build matrices, build, for example, start developing business analysis approach, or start building a stakeholder engagement approach. Then, of course, without vision, what you want to do in that project and how you want to operate, then nothing will happen. So have that vision in mind when you start doing your short-term investigations and actions. You want to be a partner, not a bystander. So from the very beginning, you make yourself visible in the project. You try to help, support, be there. Then you prove that you are added value to the team, as I mentioned already, and I will mention it constantly during this presentation. So how to achieve that? First of all, show dedication and commitment. Show yourself as a person that is proactive, that wants to do something. Be supportive and patient. And what I mean by that, do not get roll your eyes when somebody says something unpopular or something that you already discussed 3 times in a row, right? But still being supportive and patient. I understand your concern. Let's cover this one more time, okay? No problem. Let's meet once again. Do not overpromise. And what I mean by that, if you are at the beginning of the project and you already say, I will send you minutes after each meeting, I will deliver this analysis in a week, I will do this and that, and then you don't achieve that. From the very beginning, you put yourself in a very bad position and a very bad light. Someone who promises and not delivers, right from the beginning. So first of all, observe, learn, and see how much you can do realistically at the very beginning so that you don't overpromise. Then show initiative. So if you see a place, maybe it is not exactly your role, not business analyst, maybe not a PM, something that nobody wants to do. And you go there and you do that basically and show everybody that you can fulfill that gap. And that's also a good quality for any business analyst or any person working with the business, that you show that initiative and you are not afraid of challenges. Then you observe and learn before you propose changes to how people work. So what I mean, you enter a new project and you don't want to be considered some kind of a wise guy that comes and, yeah, I know everything about it, I have my experience, you are doing this wrong. Remember, people resist change right from the get-go. So you need to convince them that you have enough knowledge about the organization and about everything that is happening in the project to move on and propose your own ways. For the very beginning of your collaboration, it's not the best place to do that. Then, be a master of diplomacy. Seek solutions, do not blame anyone. It's your fault. It's your fault, I saw, you haven't delivered. No, that's the wrong way to do that. So you try to support people. You know that somebody made a mistake. Instead of that, you look for a solution to move on and move forward. And be generous in complimenting people. I can't express how many times that helps. Somebody from the business sends something in the right moment or in the date when you asked it to him to deliver that. So you say, right, it's wonderful working with you. It's great that I got it on time. Now I can achieve what we were discussing. And the person is already also glad because you have that, start to build that collaboration and you start working together, not against each other, not opposite each other, not somewhere else, but together. And then, of course, you need to open yourself to learn even more, even from your mistakes. You need to open yourself to it because you are new in the project. You might make mistakes. That's totally normal. So after that, our beerometer shows a taller glass of beer, which is kind of nice. But maybe we can get somewhere where we have a bigger glass of beer or something even bigger. Let's see. So then we have long-term goals. So the place where we want to be in 6 or 12 months. So what is our goal? We want to build a strong and close relationship with our stakeholders. So we are a trusted partner. Not only a person in the project, not someone outside from the vendor company or someone from or someone servant for the project, but someone they can talk to, even if they need to vent. Why not? Be a trusted source of information, so they know when they come to you that before you answer, you'll check that. You'll talk with people. You will look at your knowledge and share the correct answer. Or maybe something close to correct, at least. Or you will say how you intend to investigate the matter so that you can help. And then be a trusted person in case of any new topics. So basically, before they start building a business case, or when they start building a business case, instead of shooting in your direction already completed solution and feature, they discuss it with you. They want to hear your opinion. And that is really important, and that is important to the success of the project as well. Because then before they file in a huge business case with all the costs and all the benefits, they will discuss it, and maybe we will find a better way to accomplish it. So how you also achieve that? Now we go into more active stance. We don't only observe how the organization looks. We already know that. So based on our experience and based on what we are doing daily, we can pick up and propose improvements based on our tangible knowledge right now. We are not shooting in the blind. We are not proposing something out of the blue, but based on the experience in the project and organization. So we understand and we fulfill needs of stakeholders. We need to be honest and not hide issues. If we hide issues and we start seeing corpses flying from the cupboards, then business will never build trust with us. Never. And also, do not resign from promised steps or actions without discussing it first. What I mean by that? I mean that it is like you promise to send minutes after each meeting, and out of the blue you stop doing that. Or you stop consulting ready user stories because you think, it's not worth it, I don't get the benefits I need, and you just stop doing that. But for someone it might have value, and you don't see that value. So it's better to discuss, can I stop this activity already? Can we do not have 2 meetings in a week, only 1? So instead of doing that, you inform the person or people that you intend to stop this activity and what they feel about it. So then you also make yourself available and do not avoid difficult topics. What I mean by that? I mean, you don't put yourself as unavailable on any chat communicator. You don't stop answering emails because the topic is difficult. You are ready to answer any questions and any difficulties, whatever that means for you and how much difficult it will be. People will appreciate that. Maybe not already, but in future, for sure. Also, whatever you do, and once again, do not overpromise. And in this time, you don't promise that developers will do that PM for sure will come back tomorrow with that message, because you don't know that. You first consult, you first get the message clear to people, and then you promise. Or then you say it's feasible, right? And by that, you get the pyrometer with a picture, a large one. Now we are satisfied. But what that means for us, because we are all, we are still talking about what to achieve, what are the goals, but what is the benefit of all that hard work that we've put in that project? So we get the opinion is at least listened to. So it's a benefit not only for us, but for the whole team. If people tend to listen to us, they might make a different decision than we recommend, but still, our voice was heard. Somebody came to ask. Somebody cared to ask us. And then we also work in a predictable and known environment. Not only us, but the entire team. But the entire team as well. So we avoid pressure and emotion in case of conflicts and issues because we can talk it through, because we are trusted. And we decrease that risk of sudden escalation. So instead of writing an email to the top management with 1,000 of wrong things that we have done, they come to us and give us honest feedback because we work together. And they want us to improve. And we can do the same to them. We can also give feedback. Why? Because we have trust. And trust is the most important measure in the project from the business analyst standpoint. So trust is irreplaceable in the project. It's an ultimate measure of the project success. And lastly, this is contact myself. If you have any questions, if you want to contact offline, please do so. I'm open to any contacts. Thank you.
Thank you, Paweł. So, do you have any questions to Paweł? Any question? Questions?
Thank you.
Yeah, very interesting
Namaste.
presentation. Thank you very much, Paweł, for
I
your
think there is a
presentation.
question from the last row.
Yeah? Okay, sorry.
Yeah, that was a great presentation. So I'm an over-promiser. So how do you see you're doing something new, but you want to promise it? How do you try to realistically see what is the deadline which you can, like some insights? Can you throw some insights about that?
Yeah. So the topic of estimation and how to estimate your effort in an unknown project, that would be another different conversation. But what I tend to do is to give myself time to reply. So, of course, you won't know everything. But at least you can give yourself time to consult your steps, to ask people that are already there, maybe some SMEs, for example, and ask, would you do that the same in my place? So you give yourself time to answer, basically.
I noticed two things regarding promises, and yeah, I also have problem with over-promising. First, I noticed that it sometimes comes from being people pleasers. That is from being really afraid to disappoint people by not knowing the deadline or making it long. And you need to fight it within yourself. Understand that sometimes you need to say no and set boundaries. Otherwise, you would have to work overtime and many bad stuff. So this is one. Second, in a lot of environments, businesses, there is optimism bias. That is, people significantly overestimating their capacity or underestimating known issues that come in the process. So second stuff I would do is knowing that you have optimism bias, immediately budgeting some additional time to give yourself space. So this is what worked for, more or less works for me.
Yeah, and I agree with all of those points. So thank you very much. Yes, that are excellent points.
Any other questions? I don't see. Okay, thank you very much, Paweł, for your presentation.
Thank you so much.
So now I want to invite our third and unfortunately last speaker, Filip Kopij. He is a senior analyst and product owner at Cytiva. His topic is about variable information about strategic planning and the work with a backlog. Filip, stage is yours.
Thank you. Thank you for joining me today. As you see, my name is Filip, and as you see, I will talk today about harnessing your backlog and about strategic planning. A little bit more about the second part. So, first about agenda. We'll start with a few words about me. Then we'll talk about the need to harness the backlog. Why is it important? What are the issues you may face when working with a backlog? Then I will talk about roadmaps, because I believe that roadmaps are a potential solution to the problems that I will present. I will try to show you a tool that I'm using for managing roadmaps. I hope that screen sharing will work. And then we'll have the time for questions. So let's start with me, not because it's my favorite topic, but because I believe it will give you some context. And those icons, by the way, they represent several of my hobbies, which I think are quite more interesting than the whole topic. So feel free to talk to me about them later. But what's important is the context. I work in a corporation on a product that already exists. So it's a major product that we develop and and it expands. So if you come from a startup, or if you are working in a software house focused on implementation of some project that has closed scope, like, I don't know, implementation of an ERP system, then what I'm saying today, what I will be saying today, may not necessarily be suitable to your position, because I come from corporate environment, from specific projects. So just a disclaimer before we start. And so about backlog. I said how to harness your backlog, because I think that anyone who works with a backlog can sometimes find this familiar. You may have too many items. Your backlog can easily be cluttered. Personally, I believe that 100 items is maximum of what I can comprehend with my mind. I assume that you may be twice as smart as I am, so maybe 200 items for you. But still, I've seen backlogs with many more items, with hundreds of items. And even when with 100 items in the backlog, it's difficult to review it. You are at the item 77 and you don't remember what was 55. And is 13 more important than 26 or not? How to cover that? How to manage such beast? So one of the problems which I faced. And the second one, there's this very popular phrase, I think recently, feature factory. So it's possible that you work hard, that your team work hard, that you deliver a lot, and you close item after item from your backlog, but still you are not getting closer to achieving your goal. You are not getting closer to realizing what you want to achieve. If you even know what you want to achieve, that's the optimistic scenario. So feature factory, the fact that you deliver does not necessarily mean that you deliver right things. And again, that's the problem when you have just a simple list of items. So the backlog, when you have just do them one by one. Well, so it's not a surprise, because I said it already, that I think that a solution to such problems, probably to many other, could be a roadmap. So, well, but what is a roadmap, you may ask? Because there is no single definition of roadmap. If you open dictionary, you will find a few, but they are very different. So I prepared one by myself. So this is my private definition, and I hate reading from the slides, but this is, I promise you, this is the one time I will do it. So roadmap is a translation of product vision and strategy into IT activities. Well, sounds good, I think. Of course, what does it mean? We'll talk in a moment. But the critical parts are those in red. You need to have a product vision, and you need to have a strategy of your product in order to prepare a good roadmap. If you don't have those two, then, well, I recommend starting with that and later focusing on roadmaps, backlogs, and planning your work. Because if you don't know where are you going, there is a, well, limited chance that you will get there. So, yeah. But a little bit more about practice. So how such roadmaps, how such translation of product vision can work. It's all about translation. It's all about visualization and giving you some tool to present. So in my perfect roadmap, I would have those elements that you see on the slide. Starting from the top left, let's say, like we do in our culture. So product vision and product goals. So those are this is the strategic level of the product management, and this is the strategic level much higher than your backlog. So you need to have a product vision, as you said, and we could have another session about how to build a product vision. But let's assume you have one, which also means that you have some goals. Those could be OKR, those could be goals in any other form. But when you work on something, you should at least try to monitor if you are getting closer to what you want to achieve. So you have a product vision, you have goals approved on a strategic level with your CEO, CPO, CIO, you name it, senior management. And then I recommend agree on strategic initiatives. So to decide what are the, you can call it projects, you can call it work streams, but what are the initiatives on which you are going to focus and how are they connected to the vision and goals? So you know what are your goals, and you can say, okay, we will have 2, 3, maximum 4 strategic initiatives that will help us realize those goals. And that's it, that's the strategic level. So a few goals, just a few initiatives, one vision, and you have the strategy. Of course, it's not so simple, but then you move to this operational level, which there is in the middle there, I put releases, but of course it's just about some time context. It could be releases, it could be quarters, it could be months. It doesn't really matter. It just helps you organize your work in time. So you can say, okay, first we want to focus on this goal, then we'll focus on that because of the priorities, or we will do those initiatives and then later something else in time, in releases, in quarters, you name it. And only after that, when you have this whole strategic layer, we can talk about operational level. And this is our backlog, right? Features, requirements, those are product backlog items. But you see those arrows. Those arrows mean that in theory, and I'm of course talking about some perfect environment, but in theory, each feature, each requirement, each product backlog item that you have you should be able to track it back to initiatives, to goals, and to visions. So you can say, well, I want to deliver this feature because it belongs to my strategic initiative, which helps me achieve my goal, which is based on my product vision. And this requirement we are taking because of that and that and that. So you should be able to have such discussion for each of the items that you have in your product backlog item. And in a moment I will tell more what are the benefits of such approach. But look at the very bottom part of this diagram. It doesn't mean that everything goes from the top. Of course, you may have a good idea. Your stakeholders bring ideas. Your team brings ideas. People have them. But having all this strategy, having all this roadmap ready, helps you coordinate such discussion. So, and especially, again, corporate environment, right? You have a senior manager coming with an idea. It's difficult to say no, just no. But it's easier to say, well, let's compare it to our strategic initiatives, to our goals, which we, by the way, approved with CEO. So, well, this idea is great, but it doesn't match our initiatives. It's easier than just no. Or you can say, wow, this idea is good and it matches our strategy, so well, let's take it. Or you can say, this idea is so good that maybe we need to revisit the whole strategy because it gives new light, it puts new light on the whole product. Why not? But you have a context. And that was theory of what you can put there. As I said, it's not only, but visualization matters. So you can do something very simple. You can have this, let's use my laser, goal-oriented product roadmap. So you can have something like that, where you columns, and don't mind reading the text, it doesn't matter, it's just about the form. So you put your work into columns, but features are here. What's more important is that you have goals and metrics. So it's not only about features that in May we will deliver this feature, in June we will deliver another feature. It's more about goals that you want to achieve, metrics that you will use to track it, and because of that, particular features. This one is really interesting, and this is the approach we are doing right now in my company. Now, next, later. Very simple, very straightforward, easy to manage discussion. You just say, okay, now we are focusing on that, later something else, or next something else. But again, it's not because someone put it this way. It's because we have a strategy, we have initiatives, we know where are we going, what are our goals, and so on and so on and so on. Okay, that was a lot about how. Let's say why. And of course, I said a little bit about why already. But yeah, I love this slide. This is a slide from the State of Product Management Annual Report by Product Plan. And don't mind reading everything, you can download the whole report, but there are two items that are interesting here on this slide. This is the research from the research conducted on product managers. Let's make those two a little bit bigger. So 56, okay, so I lied. Second slide I'm reading from. 56% of product people are unhappy or feel average about their process of communicating their product strategy. And the number one skill that product teams say their peers lack most, because it's never us, right? We are perfect. It's our peers who lack some skills. So those peers, they lack prioritization skills. And surprise, surprise, roadmaps can solve both of them, because roadmaps are about communication. If you have everything that I described on previous slides, and someone calls you and say, hey, we have a meeting, or we have a board meeting. Can you come to us and tell us about your product? You have 5 minutes. Well, you don't need to prepare something. You just go there and you say, okay, this is my product, this is my product vision, those are the initiatives, this is the plan. 5 minutes, you have it ready. You read from your roadmap. But of course, you can talk to your team. What I was doing when we started new year or some new phase, my team said, Filip, what are the new priorities? And I was able to open the roadmap, the tool, and say, okay, guys, we are going to focus first on that. Later we will do this. Here we have some features we already planned, and so on and so on and so on. It's easy to conduct conversation, to have a conversation when you have this, and to communicate when you have this all together in one tool in your roadmap. And prioritization. This is something I said at the very beginning of my presentation, right? When you have 100, 150 requirements, product backlog items, whatever, you need to prioritize them. It's difficult to just sit and do it. It's much easier if you can say, okay, so let's see which requirements are connected to our strategic initiatives. That is our number one priority. Which features we believe will help us achieve particular goal. Let's use metrics. We talked before about the evidence-based management, right? So let's use metric. Let's use evidence and connect it to the goal. So it's no longer gambling. It's no longer randomly choosing items that you believe should be on the top. It's not listening to who shouts louder. It's all about strategy. So now I hope that, yep, it works perfect. So I wanted to show you the tool, not because I'm selling that. It's a demo trial I'm using. This is the tool I'm using at work very, very quickly. It's called AHA, where you can have everything I described, and just wanted to show you how it can work. So this view is quite simple. You have in time your releases, one release, second release. You have some features there, some example feature. This feature is connected to an initiative and to some goal. And so everything is tracked from the top to bottom. You can go to your strategy, you can review your goals, and you can go to your initiatives as well. But what's important is that, very simple roadmap. And this one is the Gantt chart form. I know not everyone loves Gantt because it suggests some timing, which of course it's not always a good solution. But you can say, okay, here we have our goal, we have our initiative, this is our plan. Or you can go and having all this information, you can, I don't know, select a view and show this, for example. So again, you say, there are features, but let's focus first on that. We have release number one. We'll focus on those initiatives and those goals. And this is the conversation you have with your CEO, right? They are not interested in your features. They are not interested which particular requirement to deliver. They are focused on this. But your team or your closer stakeholders, of course, they want to know all the details. So here we have details, we have requirements, and so on, so on, so on. So I'm not showing it to you to sell you the tool. Or I don't want you to come to your manager tomorrow and say, hey, Filip Kopij said that we should be using AHA, it's the best tool. No, absolutely not. I want to show you how you can use the tool to store all the information in one place and build the roadmaps, build the views that you need. And I also want to ask you not to do it in PowerPoint. You can do it in SharePoint. You can do it in Excel. You can do it in AHA or any other tool there are many like that. Just don't do it in PowerPoint, please. Because there's nothing worse than PowerPoint that is prepared at the beginning of the year. We build nice PowerPoint. You put all the elements of our roadmap. We save it somewhere on some shared drive and never ever come back to it or never update it because it's difficult. This should be a living document. This is why it's so easy here, just moving items, checking and so on. You constantly update it. It's not roadmap. It's not something that you build at the beginning of the year and it's your commitment for the next 12 months. No, it's a living document showing you, your team, your colleagues, where are you going. It's your tool to communicate with your management to make sure that you understand if you are on the right place. With this optimistic message. Do you have any questions? There's a question here.
Yeah, thanks a lot for this presentation. And you mentioned about 100 items in the backlog. Is it like, literally speaking, 100 items in your opinion, or? If yes, so are you talking about features or user stories?
Well, at least in my product backlog, we have user stories, defects, and technical debt items, technical tasks. And yes, 100 items for me, it's a lot, but this is something that is my reality. So, well, I would love to have 100 items. I have more, but I think it's too many.
And your team, is it working under Scrum or something else?
Yes. One of my teams is working in Kanban. They decided to switch, and I said, well, why not? We can try. Another one is working in Scrum, but well, it doesn't really matter. I think it's important why you have those items in the backlog, not exactly what are you going to do with them, or how you should be able to track every single item to some goals and initiatives. That's what I was trying to say.
Okay, thank you. And just, I would like to understand it clearly because we have more than 400, but are we talking about one small team or are we talking about the whole product team?
Mm-hmm. No, 100 items, of course, for a backlog of a single team. With my product, I have 2 teams at this point, and again, I'm telling them about this 100 items, but I don't know. I will not have. But then I will have 200, but not 4, not 500, because that is absolutely not possible to comprehend with human mind.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Thank you for presentation. And I have a question about prioritization.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say we have tens or hundreds items in our backlog, and they match our goals, all of them. So we have some kind of metric how to compare them. So would you propose some metric or some kind of approach to help chief management to make such decisions?
Yes, there are a few ideas for that, because that's a more complex situation. When you have lower number of items, that's easier. So you could have this whole session about metrics. If you can start sharing again, can I share my screen? Like, I think even in let's see if there was, because this is a great tool also for. No, it's not there, not in my, because they have this great tool for where you have a few parameters. You just move move some buttons, put values, and calculate the metric for each of the features. So I won't be looking for it right now. We were using complexity, benefit from the business, and I think urgency or something like that. So very simple. You can put a few more, but basically the answer is what is the easiest way to deliver value? So if something is relatively easy and still delivers value, well, it should go first. I know that I'm not answering your question fully, but it's like a totally broad topic. So, but that's another layer. I would say another layer to what I was just presenting today. You're welcome.
So I don't have experience with corporate environments, and what got me interested is the degree of flexibility of the feature backlog. That is, typically when your environment is highly uncertain, it's hard to estimate whether the features will deliver the value you hire them for and will move the needle in terms of the metric you want to achieve within your strategy. So I wonder, within the corporate environment, is the feature backlog strictly fixed, or can you look at it as a hypothesis backlog to see whether they help you get insights about the market and move closer to the goal?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So from my experience, and I can only talk about my experience, we have two types of them. So one, of course, come from the top because those are legal requirements, corporate requirements, but still we should have the level of flexibility. Because if you're only following orders, then you are not creative. And I think even corporations now realize that the more autonomous the teams are, the more flexibility you give to specialists, the better are the results. So that's why there's so much talk about OKRs, right? Where you give to your team objectives and key results, but the exact way how to achieve it, you leave to the team. So I think more and more organizations apply this approach, and then this is it. You have your objective on the strategic level, which comes from the management, but the way, the ideas, the features, how you are going to develop it, deliver it, may come from different sources. So yes, even in corporate environment, you have this kind of flexibility, but of course it's not the same as working on your own startup, right? That would be totally different.
That's heartwarming to hear. Thank you for the reply.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, I don't see, but we have 2 questions from our stream chat, so let me read them. With so many tasks in the backlog, do you use some rules for managing them, for example, deleting them after 6 months of their creation?
Yes, I believe in the word purge, and I think it's always good to delete all items. So partially it was covered by previous questions. We should have some metrics allowing us to prioritize. When simple answer, does it match our initiative, does it match our goal, is not enough. But when it comes to the growing backlog, yes, I am not afraid to delete or rather mark as abandoned all old items, to revisit them, and to clean it constantly, because otherwise it will grow. I hope I answered the question.
Thank you. There's another question. Do you measure the effectiveness of Scrum and Kanban development processes?
I would love to. I don't want to get too much into specific of my company, because I'm rather talking about my personal experience than about the organization that I represent, because I do not represent it here. But I don't have much experience with that. I'm not a Scrum master. I'm not a Scrum expert, and I'm a business analyst, product owner. So this is not my area of expertise. So I don't think I can give you a good answer here on that question.
Okay. We have 3rd question from the chat. What is the source of the items in your product backlog?
They are coming from 2 ways, from top or from the bottom. So from the top, you have the goals, and as I said, we have the OKRs, we have the goals that we want to achieve. So it's a teamwork to prepare solutions. So we work with designers. I have great cooperation with my user experience designers. We think how we can solve, how can we improve our product in order to achieve those goals. So those are coming from us, and we are able to propose such solutions. But of course, we have stakeholders. This is why I keep referring. This is a corporate environment. We have stakeholders representing different teams, so they bring to us their ideas. By the way, we also track them through AHA, where you can have some kind of portal for managing ideas, and then each idea is compared to our strategy, and which we have this regular conversation where we review all the new ideas reported to us, and you can say, well, we can take it because it matches our strategy or not. So I would say either from the team as a response to the goals that have been assigned to us, or from our environment, from stakeholders, and those are being reviewed. They are compared to the roadmap, to the strategy.
Okay, thank you. We don't have any more questions on chat, but if you want to ask, so please ask right now. I will read them. So do you have any more questions on the audience? Over there, okay.
Hi. I have a question regarding roadmap. When you build a roadmap, annual roadmap, how you estimate how many features you can deliver? Because I've met with such problems that, for example, you show your stakeholders roadmap with a lot of features,
Mhm.
and then in a month you realize that you can deliver less features in the nearest year, for example.
Mhm.
And for example, developers have a problem with estimating features like which you are going to deliver in 3 months, for example.
Mhm.
How you estimate this?
So this is why I'm talking about this more strategic level. So to my stakeholders, I would prefer not to show the features. I would rather tell them, hey, we are going to focus on this area, on this initiative, on this goal first. And then we can either say, well, we'll do it for a couple months because we have funding or because we think it matters, or we can try to, okay, or we can say until we deliver some features. So then, of course, So if you have as a fixed scope some functionality that you know you want to deliver, then my answer wouldn't be a Gantt chart. It would be rather now, the road mapping, now, next, later. So say, now we are doing that. When it's finished, it's done, and deal with it. We work as fast as we can. Or we can say, if we plan on strategic level with a few areas, we can say, okay, first we will focus on that, later we will focus on this, then we will do something else. And we will probably not deliver everything you can imagine in the scope of this initiative, but after 3 months, we can come back to the stakeholders and say, hey, we were working on that for 3 months, we delivered this, this, and that. Do you think we should move to the next topic, or we should keep working on this? Did I answer your question?
Yeah.
Happy. Welcome.
Thank you. We have one more question from the chat, I think. What is the source of the items in your product backlog? How often do you update your product goal?
What is the source? I think that was already asked about this question. What is
Was
the
it
source
asked?
of items in my product backlog? That was already answered.
Already asked. Okay, sorry.
I can say once more. I love talking to people.
You can remind
I don't
this
under-
question.
The risk is I would say something different than 5 minutes ago, so maybe let's not try doing that. Okay, I think that's it. If you can switch once again to me sharing the screen, I would do one last. This is the QR code with my LinkedIn account, so if you are interested in contacting me, you can do this. I hope it works. This all new technology is, wow, so new. And thank you. Thanks again for coming here. Thanks again for listening to me. Thank you to all the people online listening to us. Happy to be here in presence. Thank you.
Thank you, Filip, for your presentation. Big applause for the Filip. So, unfortunately, our meetup is coming to the end. I would like to ask and remind you to follow our BA community in our Facebook, BA Unity. You can scan the QR code and follow us. Also, our Andersen people social media, you can follow us to be always informed about our future meetups and events in our office. Thank you very much to the audience here for be a part of our meetup, and also audience in our YouTube channel. Thank you very much for be a part here, and have a good night, our audience. Right now, I would like to ask our speakers, 3 speakers, to join me on the stage.